All right, it's Whamageddon, Tartageddon. IPL still going. Still going. I think we're 55 games into a 74-game regular season. It's Adam Collins with Ben Jones, who has been watching it because we aren't. Hello, you turned 30 when we spoke last week. How have you felt? How's the week been before we get into things? Good morning, good afternoon to you.
Thank you very much. No, it's been much the same, apart from I've lurched politically very far to the right. That's been mine. That's as you know, as you're supposed to. I think it was Alan Bennett referred to it as the depressing safari rightwards as you get older. So yeah, I'm standing for reform at the next election. So it's been a big week.
What's that old hackneyed? If you don't vote Democrat when you're 20, you don't have a heart. If you don't vote Republican when you're 40, you don't have a brain, or something like that. Although we've done the opposite of that. I'm sure you would have been following the Australian election, which Jeff and I have already discussed to this point in the show. But, it's not all one-way traffic.
It's not all bad news.
We aren't on one unquestionable trip to the end of time with a nuclear apocalypse. It might just be that sound-thinking people might see us through this very challenging time in human history. Hey, IPL. We're not going to fuck around here. We're going to cut straight to the car chase. The premise of this segment, if you've not watched or listened to it before, I have not seen a ball of the IPL. And look, sometimes that is a wee bit performative because, I might look away from a TV screen. Although it must be said, there's been no risk of that in the last week. I genuinely have not had the IPL in my orbit at all. So we've had a bank holiday weekend here. I've been playing cricket, not watching cricket. So Jonesy, let rip. What's ball one on our IPL segment this week?
Ball one was me wasting my sunny bank holiday watching an absolute rip snorter of a South India derby on Saturday night, RCB versus CSK. Liquid tartar. It was a glorious, glorious game. This one might be a bit of a long one. I'll strap in, go and get a drink because this is very much the highlight of the week. RCB at the Chinnaswamy, it's bouncing. The atmosphere, apparently, speaking to a few people that were there, was unlike anything they've ever seen. All the TV promos, it's Dhoni versus Virat. Here we go again. It's been building up. RCB, top of the table. There's this sense of momentum, and it delivered. The expectations were high, and we met them. RCB bat first. Virat and Bethel opening the batting, and I think both of them batted as well as I've ever seen them in a T20, to be honest. They were absolutely pinging off the bat. Bethel looks like a superstar already. He is not going to sit on the bench for many more games in the IPL. He is box fresh and ready to go in the biggest tournament on the planet, which is pretty mad for a kid who was playing for Welsh Fire 2 years ago. Not all of us have been cursed by that experience. He's made it out alive. But RCB actually fall in a bit of a heap. They struggle a little bit in the middle overs. They lose a few wickets, and it's looking like they're going to make about 160, 170 when Romario Shepherd walks in and hits 53 red from 14 balls. A proper brutal display of hitting. For people who don't know, Shepherd's often a bit of a bits and pieces player. He's a big bloke, but he's kind of dibbly-dobbler, slower ball variations with the ball and just kind of sits and swings. But when he sits and swings and he connects, the ball goes a long way. There was one off Khalil Ahmed, who's a proper bowler, comes around the wicket, the left armer, digs in a slow ball into the pitch. And it's, if you imagine, the kind of box of where legal deliveries can go, he's picked it up in the top corner. It's a perfect slow ball bouncer. And Shepherd kind of goes back onto one foot and somehow pings it over extra for six. I've never seen a shot like it. It was genuinely really, really hard to kind of work out the physics of how he's done it. But anyway, they get to 213, so they make a proper score thanks to this final flourish. CSK are in the dead zone of their tournament. They really are. They're struggling. They're just picking the kids. And one of the kids is a guy called Ayush Matre, who's a 17-year-old. He opens the batting. He makes 94 from 48. Now, in a normal season, that would be the most unbelievable thing you've ever seen in your life.
Indeed.
It's not even the best teenage Indian century we've seen in the last fortnight, or not century, but you know what I mean. But it was another example of this never-ending cavalcade of Indian batting talent. And alongside him in this partnership, which sees CSK basically all the way to the chase, is Ravindra Jadeja, who's had a shocking season, really retained on big money and hasn't delivered at all. It's one of the reasons why they've struggled.
Right.
They get to the point where they need about 50 or 5 overs, and you're thinking this is done. Win-vis was 80%. Fantastic bit of commentary from someone who says when the win-vis is 80%, you've got to be winning 9 times out of 10, which I thought was absolutely outstanding.
Was it a bit of commentary followed by some chat about rhinos, maybe, or was it a?
Wasn't that commentary? He's in the dugout, mate.
Oh, he's in the dugout.
Yeah, he's in the dugout at Delhi. They've taken the microphone off him.
Okay.
But anyway, CSK they're in shooting distance. This is theirs. This is going to be their highest ever chase. Lungi Ngidi comes on, manages to get Matre out with a slower ball. He's trying to get to his 100 with a 6, and he skies it. Dual Brevis then walks in. He gets out first ball, and it swung back, and suddenly we're back with Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Ravindra Jadeja in a tight finish.
Oh,
And you know what he does? He takes it deep, Adam. He takes it into the final over. From the final over, CSK need 15 to win with Dhoni and Jadeja at the crease. Go on.
Acknowledging, I don't know who captains RCB, but I assume Kohli sort of in the mixer here. Did he contribute earlier? Like, what is he involved in the engine room?
Scored some runs, dropped a catch, almost cost them the game. That's how much happened in this game. I haven't got time to mention that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just like the idea of Kohli being kind of right in the thick of things here at the death.
Yeah, he's doing the steaming, walking around, looking like he's going to take off because he's so annoyed with himself.
I love that. I just can't. Every day that we live on this planet, I love Virat Kohli more. Like, just everything about his arc has pleased me. Anyway, please continue.
100%. So let's tee this up. Final over, 15 to win. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Ravindra Jadeja against Yash Dayal. Yash Dayal, of course, the bowler who bowled a 28 run over to Rinku Singh when Rinku went mad and hit all those sixes at the end of a game a couple of years back. So he's got trauma in this situation, and he comes in and he gets Dhoni out. Dhoni's gone. They need 13 from 3. He's basically won the game from you, thinking this is cooked. The one thing you don't do when you're trying to defend 13 from 3 is bowl a waist high full toss that goes for 6.
No.
That's what he does. It's a no ball.
Ooh.
Shivam Dubey smokes his first ball for 6. CSK now needs 6 from 3. And it's a free hit.
Oh, gosh.
And Dayal bowls 3 absolutely pitch-perfect Yorkers. They win the game by 3 runs. RCB still top of the table. And it would, honestly, the emotions in that final over as someone who did want RCB to win, some of the language coming out of my mouth when he bowled that ball at Dubey's chest, I can't repeat in polite company. But honestly, what a game of cricket. Saturday night, bouncing Chinnaswamy. It's all the big boys, South India Derby. This is what the IPL is about.
Love it. And I'm interested. Like, there's a lot of people that talk about bowlers or athletes who choke. I'm more interested in those who have a moment where it feels like it's going to go off the rails and then they pull it back together. So the McIlroy example from a couple of weeks ago. But I'm more interested in that subset, those who look like they're about to go off the cliff and find a way just not to, and then go back the other way. And it sounds like in this final over, that's how it's played out. A beauty, RCB by 2 runs, and for what it's worth, RCB, as I pull up my Wikipedia page, inside the 4. They're top of the table. 16 points with a number of group games to go. I have no idea how many group games are in the IPL these days. You'll tell me that at the end. Let's race through a bit here, Ben. I let you indulge on ball 1, but that's okay. You know how to do this with me.
I know the game. I know how the sausage gets made. So I briefly referred to Dual Brevis's LBW or wicket in that match on Saturday night, but it's actually worth revisiting because it was an example of one of those awful little umpiring quirks or rule quirks that just need to be addressed. So he gets out He's given out LBW, and he's running the ball. Sorry, let's try that again. He's given out LBW first ball. The ball pings off into the outfield. He starts running because he's thinking, I'm going to review this.
Sure.
And I want the runs. He's then, at the end, finishes his runs, comes to meet Jadeja to discuss whether or not they're going to review it. And then he tries to review it, makes the little T. And they can't because the timer's run out, because the timer starts when the decision is given, not when the action of the batter is done, which is it's a quirky little thing. But what it means, basically, is that as soon as the umpire gives the decision out in an LBW, you are then no longer able to score runs, regardless of whether that decision is correct.
Yeah, James Taylor 2015 World Cup, where that denied him 100, where the leg by, I can't remember exactly how that sequenced, but Norcross is obsessed with this. And there is a solution that the umpire doesn't signal the leg before yes or no until the leg bys are complete. So the umpire knows that he or she is going to give it out or not out, but they don't reveal that. The big reveal comes after the completion of the prospective leg byes, because this will be, the scenario you're painting there will decide a World Cup one day. And procedurally, we will say that DRS has cost the team that should win the match on the basis that they, kind of carve things off the moment the finger goes up. So yeah, there are ways to solve this little wrinkle that you're referring to here.
We were very close to having it sorted on Saturday night because with 13 from 4 needed, Dhoni is given out and the ball pings down to the boundary and goes for 4, and it's about a millimetre from being overturned. Now, in this
that would have fixed it.
scenario, that would have fixed it. I reckon that one's getting sorted.
That's going up the chain. That's not just us gibbering on the final word about it. That's an international incident if it involves.
Narendra's getting a call. The big boys are getting a call with that one. The hotline's getting wrong. So we were very close, but we'll have to wait until someone loses or wins a World Cup final on it for it to actually get done.
Okay, ball 3, Jonesy.
I think you've already spoken about this on the main show, but I just wanted to mention it's been a bit of an ongoing mystery. Kagiso Rabada, one of the best players in the world, plays for Gujarat Titans in the IPL, but he hasn't been playing. He played the first 2 games and then he's mysteriously disappeared, went back to South Africa for personal reasons. And then it's transpired that actually he's been serving a ban for recreational drug taking that he was pinged on during the SA20 earlier this year. He only got the ruling back at the start of April, and as a result went back because he was unable to play, and is now up and running and fully available for the rest of the tournament, and also, more importantly perhaps, the World Test Championship final in a few weeks' time. I don't really need or want to comment on, the age-old recreational drug versus performance-enhancing drugs. I think my view is pretty liberal, really. I think if a drug doesn't make you better at cricket, should you be banned from taking it? Legal issues aside, I'm not really sure. But what I think it just speaks to is this sense of the IPL being an impenetrable fortress of information, that actually trying to get in and work out what is happening in this team. Why is the team that is second in the table not playing their star overseas player? Why is he not even in the country? Why last year does Harry Brook drop out from Delhi Capitals IPL squad a month before it? There are so many things that are happening in this world of the IPL that, because the information is so closely controlled and so tightly, it's the board of cricket controlling cricket in controlling India. Like, this is what we're dealing with, and so trying to get information out of it, I find very frustrating. Because obviously, privacy issues for Rabada aside, I think more transparency, obviously, it would improve the fan experience across the board, and would also create a bit less of this clandestine creepiness that somehow comes into the IPL, where you just get a sense of you're never being told fully what is happening. And I know that you've got certain views on certain things that might be happening behind the scenes. But...
No. I think that's a really good addition to what Jeff and I spoke about earlier, to frame it up that way from a more IPL perspective, rather than the sort of philosophical conversation around this that Jeff and I were going on about earlier in the show. We're at the halfway mark of the over. The umpire's saying 3 to go.
So this is a quick one. This is one for, I think, I'm not going to say statisticians, but people that like the little nuggets of achievements, of landmarks. And I think my personal favourite of those in cricket, and there's lots of them, is 6 sixes in an over. I love 6 sixes in an over. I remember being England Bangladesh in the 2019 World Cup. In Cardiff, and Jason Roy hits the first 4 balls of the over for 6 and then gets out trying to hit the 5th one. I love that the game just kind of stops and it just becomes a contest. It exists in its own world, but no one's ever done it in the IPL. No one's ever hit 6 sixes in an over in the IPL. Obviously, Yuvraj Singh's done it for India. We've seen Karan Pollard do it down the years, but never happened in the IPL. We got really close yesterday, or maybe the day before, sorry, maybe Sunday. KKR versus Rajasthan. Riyan Parag hit 6 sixes in 6 balls, but only 5 in 1 over, and the other one tips over. So he's done the stretch. He hit Moeen Ali for 5 sixes in a row, but he couldn't get the other ball in that over away. And it's just like, oh, we were so close. But also, I kind of like that no one's done it. It's one of those. It's the big 5. It's the unattainable goal. It just kind of sits off in the distance.
I hope
Parag was very very close.
I hope the great man Shastri was on comms at the time when it all played out. If he wasn't, if you ever get the chance when you're working with Ravi, ask him about when he hit 6 in an over in 1985. It's I've done it with him on comms a couple of times. He knows his stories. Ravi, he's brilliant, and he really takes it away from there when he did it at a first class game for, well, it was called Bombay then, wasn't it? Okay, 2 left in the set, Ben.
2 left, and one is at the start of this segment, or of this series of segments. We spent a lot of time talking about Delhi Capitals because they were right up there with the front runners. They won a lot of games in the first few weeks of the tournament, and they've not won a lot since. Do you remember we spoke about KL Rahul at the Chinnaswamy visiting as the away player as a guy from Bangalore, and he was stamping his feet and stamping his back, saying, "This is my ground." Well, since then he's barely scored a run, and Delhi have won 2 games out of 7. They have gone
Wow.
from being at the top of the table to clinging on to qualification. They are just outside the playoff places at the moment. They got shot out last night against Sunrisers Hyderabad, who are out of the tournament now. But they got shot out for 133. Brilliant performance by Sunrisers' Pat Cummins, by the way. 3 wickets in 3 overs with the new ball, each from the first ball of the over, and he took a catch in that spell. So he took them apart piece by piece. But then the rain came down. So Delhi snuck in a point that at this point it could be crucial. They are just outside the playoffs. Everyone's out of form. Stark's out of form. Kuldeep's out of form. They've had to drop Jake Fraser-McGurk because he was averaging 9. So that they are really having to rebuild the train whilst it's still running. But with that rain out point last night, they're still just about clinging on. They've still got a chance with 3 games to go.
Right. So Cummins, Stark, and Hazlewood are all still active in the tournament. They're all fit, bowling. No suggestion any of the big three will kind of go home prematurely if their teams aren't going to qualify.
This is another story that I didn't get a chance to mention on the first bit. Josh Hazlewood was sat out of the game on Saturday night. Apparently a niggle, nothing serious. That's why Lungi Ngidi, who made a game-breaking intervention, was in the team. But he apparently it's nothing serious. But that's the first sign we've had of any of the big three being twitchy and nervous. But yes, in terms of actual competitiveness, yeah, they're still knocking around. There's no rest on the cards.
Yeah, it's the thing with Hazlewood, isn't it? If there's a niggle, get him out. Because we know, right? We know with Hazlewood there's a trajectory. It's a niggle, then it's something more serious when he tries to get back, and then he often can miss a lot of cricket. Hopefully he's all right through the rest of the tournament. Last ball, Ben, then we can wrap this episode up.
So we're just looking forward now to the next stage. This is the business end of the tournament. There are qualification permutations knocking around the place. But without doubt, the biggest game of the remainder of the tournament on paper at the moment is Mumbai Indians versus Gujarat Titans this week. This is an absolutely huge game. You've got RCB at the top, Punjab in second, but Mumbai and Gujarat are both on 7 wins at the moment. Mumbai have played one more game, but basically in the battle for the top 2, whoever loses this is really on the back foot. They've both been playing brilliant cricket. They are both looking great. This is proper, 2 fit as a butcher's dog's teams right now, and so I'm really excited to see them go at each other for what I think won't be the last time this season, because I think they're both going to make the playoffs, and it's just going to set up an ongoing narrative. And very quickly, just to add some context for people, a few years ago, Hardik Pandya was captain of Gujarat Titans, and he was very controversially traded to Mumbai Indians for no apparent reason other than politics. He was brought in. Gujarat got nothing in return. It was proper, there's something fishy going on here. This is all a bit peculiar. Since then, Hardik, captain of MI, hasn't beaten Gujarat. He can't get it over them. And so he is obviously king of the castle and the biggest franchise in the tournament, but can't beat the ex-girlfriend still lingering on the mind. So this week, that's an added extra little drama. Gujarat have got a relatively kind run in after this. Mumbai have got a really tough run in after this. They're playing playoff contenders all the way through to the end of the season. So Mumbai really need to win. Hardik really needs to get this monkey off his back, and whoever wins has got 1 foot in the final.
Lovely, lovely. That's being played at the in Mumbai at the Work Rest and Play. So we'll watch out for that in next week's segment. And that trade period. I'm trying to find the right AFL analogy where a player's been able to go for nothing. Oh, Massimo D'Ambrosio, outstanding winger. Ben, you'll be pleased to know we've won again on the weekend. We got him from Essendon for nothing, basically. So these things are nice. Right, that's it for the segment and the episode as well. Jonesy, great stuff as always. I feel informed. I feel ready to talk about the IPL with my friends and family, as I always do. I make a habit of doing that.
Winnie never shuts up about it.
Only possible because of your informative segment. We'll chat to you next week. Right, that is also the end of the program today. The final word is brought to you by Maurice Blackburn Lawyers, Australia's #1 plaintiff law firm. Odin Mortgage and Tax, both of whom you've heard about in the show. And of course, you can subscribe to the Wisden Cricketers Almanac and get it cheaper. Never pay full price for the good book. To our patrons, we thank you. We love you for the support you've provided to Jeff and me over many years to make this our thing. And if you want to partner with the Final Word, a great time to get in touch. Info@finalwordcricket.com. We've got so many daily apps coming up through the England-India Test Match Series, the Women's World Cup, the World Test Championship Final. Australia are playing 3 Test matches in the Caribbean. It's going to be such a busy 4 or 5 months. So there's never been a better time to partner up with the Final Word, info@finalwordcricket.com. Okay, that's it. Us done for another week on the weekly show of the Final Word, season 18, episode 11 complete. Goodbye.